You are Locked On Hawks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Good evening, Hawks fans. Come on. Everybody is welcome here for yet another episode of the Locked On Hawks POSTCAST. Of course, I'm your host, DeShaun Tate. Got my dude with me. I know that there's some who may not be familiar, but I think y'all going to have a real good time here on the evening, man. He going to cut up pretty good, and I'm going to be here for each and every single word of it. Get ready to get yourself educated, man. My dude Maceo is with me, the host of the Crush Sports Talk podcast. Make sure you check them out every Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30 p. Of course, that's Eastern Standard Time at the Crush Sports Talk on all social media platforms. Got a packed show for you guys on the day for this particular episode. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Talking a little bit about how ugly wins do equal wins. Wins are wins. And I kind of feel two different ways about that in my own low way. But we're going to provide a little bit of balance here on the evening. Of course, you got to be, I got to be the Debbie Downer. Of course, is there anything that you can, and when I say guarantee, I mean absolutely anything. Not just anything in life can be guaranteed sometimes. But if there's one thing that you feel the most comfortable, that you can feel confident in saying that you can guarantee about this Hawks team after a big time win on tonight, 124-112 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. What would that one thing be that you feel good about guaranteeing from what you see from this team's identity? And then, of course, still streaking, going from a 3-game win streak, their first of the season, to now a 4-game win streak, trying to make it 5. We'll dive into who's up next for the Atlanta Hawks after that third segment. But not before I be sure to let you know that this episode of the Locked On Hawks POSTCAST is brought to you by FanDuel, where you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if, only if, you win your first $5 bet. Be sure to visit FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com. Maceo, my guy. Dude, big time win for this Hawks team on tonight. Let's just tell it what it is. They won ugly tonight. Seems like they were working really hard for their money. Shots just didn't appear as if they wanted to fall. Was having a really difficult time in failure, trying to put together some consistency, effectiveness from the offensive side of the ball, like they just weren't in sync. But I think you got to give a little bit of credit to their ability to be able to walk away from the game, adding a number to the left side of the result column. How did they do it? What did you anticipate you would see this game, anticipate seeing from the team in this particular game on tonight? As everybody knows, Dejounte Murray was returning. We'll get to that here in a second. What'd you see in tonight's action?
Dude, this was crazy about this team. You really don't know from game to game. We know that Trey is the star. We know that we expect him to lead the way. It wasn't the case tonight, early on. Deandre Hunter, I think this 6-man role for him has kind of been a blessing. He started out slow. He had 5 at the half, ended the night with 22. The thing I was most impressed about this team, we had 7 to 8 guys in double figures tonight. And for this team, it's much needed, especially on a night where Trey just didn't have it. Nothing was going Trey's way tonight. And when it's nights like that, I feel like he needs to drive the ball to the basket. It's like he's allergic to going to the hole. It's almost like he can't dribble. I'm like, dude, you got some of the best handles.
Yeah.
Lead. Yeah. Go to the basket when your jump shot not working, but he won't do it. I don't know if him and Coach Quinn, if they had a conversation, and you know this, sitting in pressers, you want to ask Coach Quinn that question, then he deflects a lot. So it's just like
tap dancing around it.
Yeah, like, all right, Coach. We're going to continue to let this guy do this on a night and night. And we know Trey averages 23, 24, but we need that on a night. But we need him around his average, and he wasn't that a night. But luckily, his teammates picked him up. So I mean, a win is a win. You talked about it in the opening. You want to stack those dubs, and that's what they did tonight. 4 in a row. We can't complain in the city.
No doubt, man. Another win for the Atlanta Hawks. You touched on a couple different things I thought was interesting. First, talking about DeAndre Hunter. I mean, me and Tanisha have sat around and talked about DeAndre Hunter. Only she knows my frustration for DeAndre Hunter, for a guy that you move up in the draft to go get at number 4, and then obviously he don't. You bring between him and Reddish and Herter, you have all those guys at the same time. Don't know who you're going to keep. You're the guy they end up keeping.
Right.
So much of this team's success being predicated on him being healthy, because when he's not, this team is typically not playing very well. And it's all about, well, if we could just keep DeAndre Hunter healthy. He's back. He's healthy. He's in a very comfortable role. I think some of that fits his personality as well, with him being able to be the guy that's coming off the bench and being some offensive firepower as well. As far as Trey goes, I didn't know what to expect on tonight because, you got Dejounte coming home, or coming back rather. And there was just a lot of build up in my own personal opinion, and I didn't hear anybody else say this, but I'm just kind of looking to see what that's gonna look like to a degree, because when you see those guys together when they were on the same team and hearing them talk and so forth, it seems like they're almost like best friends in the world. But if you can read between the lines, again, I'm not going to say there was friction. I'm not going to say this and that and the other, but I felt a little something about it when there was times when Trey was trying to make it clear that this was his team. Yeah. I felt some type of way about it as well, or saw some static of some sort, of just something didn't really appear right when Trey went down with an injury. Dejounte was the one leading this team and helping them through wins that they desperately needed and wouldn't have gotten without him. And then the vibe was just a little bit different, and everybody was riding the Dejounte coattail and just the hype train, and it just didn't seem like those. It had a weird feeling. So I didn't know what tonight was going to look like. Both of them, neither one of them really had particular Dejounte or Trey like nights. They kind of seemed like they canceled each other out a little bit. But that being said, a win is a win. I personally don't like my wins like that. I get it. Sometimes you got to muck it up. They're going to be ugly. Ugly wins is ugly wins. I'll take them. Everybody agrees. I'll take the win. Nobody's saying they're not going to take the win. I just personally don't like my wins like that. Yeah. They just kind of need to get a little bit of fire up underneath them to find a way to win a little bit more convincingly for me, especially a team like the New Orleans Pelicans that's missing 4 players, a Zion, a Brandon Ingram, a Herb Jones, a Jose Alvarado, 3 of those guys being starters. That's a combined 63 points, 17 rebounds, and 15 assists that they were missing on tonight. Give me your thoughts overall on Dejounte Murray. Obviously coming back, the reception that he got from the fans, in addition to the fact that we got a chance to check out the tribute video that they kind of packaged up and put together for him. Do you think that was well-deserved, warranted, or do you just don't?
Listen, Dejounte was good for the city. And you kind of hit on it at one point. We were all like, citywide, like, hey, get 11 out of here. Let's ride with 5. Mm. And things happen. It was good to see them go ahead and have that, because it was going to be awkward to have the moment before the game. They came out. Dejounte came out. Trey was warming up. As Dejounte was leaving, he had to go out that end of the floor, hug Trey. They dapped it up. Of course, they had words, and all the cameras were just waiting on it. So they got that part out the way. I like how you said they canceled each other out. A lot of emotion. It's funny. At the tip, Hawks get the tip. Dejounte immediately picks up Trey.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, yeah, buddy. But you put that in. You framed that pretty good right there. They kind of cancel each other out. The tribute, very emotional. So Dejounte is a funny kind of guy. Anyway, he feeds on a lot of stuff. He every time he touched the ball, pretty much tonight he got booed from the 6 man.
Okay, didn't realize that. Okay,
they booed him every time he touched the ball. So during the first time out where they did the tribute, he kind of put his towel over his head a little bit. He threw his hand up just a little bit. He's such a competitor.
Yeah.
And I do think in his mind, he was like, oh, I want to do work, because his pregame warm-up, when he came out the tunnel, it was, we watched him 2 years. His focus was a little different tonight, because I think in his mind, he was like, oh, I want to go for 30. And just let the city know, what they missing. And it didn't happen for him. But overall, good night for Dejounte. This city as a whole, pretty much, the city really embraced Dejounte. I know him and Boosie, like real partners. So, Boosie had to be here for that. I missed Dejounte. I was one of those guys like, get Trey out of here.
Yeah.
I was that guy.
Okay. And I never really lived too much on that side of the fence. I've always been the pro Trey guy. Right. Not saying I don't. I'm not open to laying it out all on the table to let it be known when Trey ain't right. Trey ain't right.
Right.
Or when Trey need to bring it down a little bit, you need to bring it down, or whatever the case may be. But I should have just automatically known that we was going to get a lot of that type of conversation and what have you. And appreciate for King Philip to be tapping in with us on tonight, saying I don't think that Trey's Achilles is feeling good enough for him to drive a lot. That's the thing. Like, sometimes you've been seeing Trey for long periods of time in the game where he just seems a lot more like just passive and just really just not seeming very Trey-like. We've been talking about that for like the last few weeks in comparison to the Trey that we had been seeing and that we've just been accustomed to over the years. But, there was also an instance, I think I seen a notification come across my phone about a week ago or something saying that the Hawks or Trey or somebody was being fined a ridiculous amount of money. I don't know if it was 100,000. I might just be making that number up. But
playing in the tournament game.
Yeah, or something along those lines. Exactly. So, I don't know how much of any of this got anything to do with anything, if I'm being honest, but I know that it feels weird. But what doesn't feel weird is coming away with a win. And so they're still able to do that, and that's working out for them just perfectly fine so far. You might be able to look at it from a glass half full standpoint and say, hey, if they're able to do these things without playing very well, just imagine what it looks like when they are playing well, i.e. DeAndre Hunter's look really good. Dyson Daniels hasn't had to look like that third option that we're not sure we can rely on the offensive end. And then obviously Zachary Risachet just happened to be at the right place, right time, every time for whatever reason. So good win over a team doing what they're not going to find too many sour grapes about. From me about a team doing what they're supposed to do against a team who only has 4 wins on the season. So we'll be right back on the other side of this break. We're kind of going to get into what you can guarantee, if anything at all, out of a team like the Atlanta Hawks, and talk a little bit about what we've seen so far and base everything on that. And we'll be right back here with you on the other side of this break in just one moment. This segment of the Locked On Hawks postcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. While most around us are joyful, full of cheer, the holidays aren't always the jolliest time of the year for everyone. Sometimes life be lifing, and just naturally as humans, we can all use a little pick-me-up from time to time. That's why I'm here to tell you about BetterHelp, a convenient way to provide you or someone that you love with some much-needed therapy sessions. BetterHelp, however, is not just for those of which whom have experienced trauma, major trauma, or any kind of trauma for that matter. Perhaps all you need is someone to share with, vent to, or even some self-care purposes to treat and protect your own personal mental well-being. I can tell you right now from experience that a listening ear has helped me on a personal level multiple times, and it can do the same for you. Learn positive coping skills and be empowered to be nothing shorter than the very best version of yourself. That being said, find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off of your first month. That's right. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Got my dude Maceo with me, man. DeShaun, Tate, another episode after regular season game number 22, resulting in a 124-112 win for the Atlanta Hawks over the New Orleans Pelicans. We've been watching this team all season long. As you know, and you've been in a lot of these press conferences, going to the games. You went to the game tonight, Maceo. That's I have been known on this particular program to call this team inconsistent. Nothing consistent about them except that the only thing consistent is that they're consistently inconsistent. I struggle sometimes to find something, not saying positive, but just consistent that I can pretty much hang my hat on and say, I can feel really good that I'm going to get this out of this team every single night.
Yeah.
No question. Going into last game, going into tonight's game, going into Wednesday's game against the Bucks on the road. What is that one thing that you, and I'm just picking your brain a little bit, what is the one thing that you feel the most comfortable or confident saying that this has been the closest thing that you have been able to guarantee that you will see out of this team every night?
Dude, with this team, this far into the season, I guarantee that we are going to throw the ball all over the place. I mean, we are going to turn it over in ways that you can't believe. You like, why?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Who you throwing to?
Yeah.
We know that for a fact that this team is going to turn the ball over at an unbelievable rate. And it's mind-boggling, especially tonight. Against a better team, you're not winning the way we turn over the basketball
At all.
So that's what I'm going to hang my hat on every time with this team. I just know that it's going to be like 7 to 8 times. Just be like,
yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna hang my hat on with.
Yeah. There's gonna be moments when you're gonna have your face in your hands and all that kind of stuff. And y'all feel free, those of you who are, watching live. Appreciate everybody for tapping in with us, watching us, chiming in already on the in the comment section and so forth. If there's something that any of you guys feel like you can feel comfortable and confident that you can guarantee that you'll see out of this team every single night. No matter what it is, good, bad, and different, whatever the case may be. I have noticed that one thing with this team is that definitely far too many turnovers. Yeah. To your point, I think that in these type of instances, I'd rather be shooting up a very ill-advised shot and poor shot selection to give myself a 50-50 chance at accidentally making it or just missing it than I am to treat it like you're getting points on the board by giving it to the other team, if that makes any sense. So definitely need a little bit more ball security from that standpoint. Had far too many turnovers on tonight. How many did they have?
17.
17 turnovers, far too many. I think they had 11 at the half. So, of course, they tightened it up just a little bit. Before, a very muck it up type of game, as it seemed. I mean, it's the unforced errors, the unforced turnovers for me. And we know that, in these types of instances, I feel like you can almost guarantee that some random role player is going to go off for the other team. That's almost how I feel. I mean, we see a guy like Yves Messi on tonight go for his career high, 23 points. He almost looks like a baby Capella if you're watching him play, just his movements. It was just a different level. You watching him catch lobs and everything else. But I want to give some credit. And maybe this is something about why we're seeing the turnovers look the way that we do, is because they haven't consistently had that backup point guard. I don't know whose idea it was to not really have the more ideal backup point guard than Kobe Buffkin, who I think is still a little bit premature for the role. in terms of logging a significant amount of minutes when it's time for Trey to sit down. If you haven't been noticed, Trey has also been sitting down for long periods of time as well. So I think that's got to have something to do with something. But give credit to Buffkin on tonight. 10 points, not just about his scoring, but also did not miss a shot on tonight. I think that says something as well. But I do feel pretty confident from putting a positive twist on it, that this will be a team that for the most part, I think will dominate in the paint. Right. As much as we talk about how much they like to shoot threes, I had concerns about them over the last few games falling in love with three because they've been shooting it at a ridiculous rate. The shots weren't falling and they go hungry hippo and start feeding the middle. That's something that I think is really good for this team, is that they've been able to eat up a little bit on the inside. Let's go over to the comments here just for a quick second as we're going to get ready to transition to our last segment. Got my dude King Phillip back in here on his comments saying, yeah, they got to tighten up on the passes. Far too many turnovers, apple turnovers, blueberry turnovers, cherry turnovers, all sorts of turnovers. Just giving the baby away, for crying out loud. Must Love Fiction. Appreciate you for chiming in. Not familiar with the name, but looks like you're familiar with the game. Not driving to the basket enough when the threes aren't falling. That's for sure. Definitely need to do that a little bit more so that those just make sure that those passes aren't getting telegraphed for more turnovers when you try and throw that lob that you love to throw so much. Sean Campbell, buddy, cousin of mine, actually, matter of fact. Appreciate him for tapping in. Man, I don't care about Trey anymore. LOL. And man, you got to show some love to Trey, man. Trey is that dude. Trey is still trying to figure some stuff out with playing with some guys that's in a Hawks uniform for the very first time. And then lastly, before we go to the break, King Phillip again, hopefully Buffkin can stay healthy. He's getting better game by game. Now that I can certainly agree with and appreciate.
It's just good seeing him in uniform. It's so crazy the last couple of nights as he hits the floor. I'm like, dude, I'm just glad to see you in your uniform and not street clothes.
That's right.
I get sick. Like, I've probably seen every outfit that he got in his closet the last year. Like, dude, I want to see you in the Hawks warm-up gear, not your Cartiers.
That's right.
Not all these crazy jogging suits that you wear, Kobe. We need you on the floor, dude. So it's just good to see him out there. You can tell he has a skill set.
Yeah.
But he has to, as we talk about, has to log these minutes. And maybe Coach Quinn, like I say, Coach Quinn don't really like answering questions. The only thing he will tell you is that we need to shoot more threes. Now, he will tell you that.
He will.
Without a doubt. Hey, we're not shooting it enough. Like, you can't be coach. You can't be serious, but whatever.
Yeah.
Good to have Kobe back in the lineup. I think sometime in February, March, we're going to start really seeing what the game slows down for him. And he starts understanding, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So, develop, Kobe. Keep developing.
And learning a little bit under Dejounte Murray from last year as well. So doing a good job on the defensive end, especially on tonight. Seems like he's improving in that department as well. On the other side of the break, we're going to get into the still streaking. No, me and Maceo ain't about to do no streaking on here. We're talking about the Atlanta Hawks, who's on a 4-game win streak now, getting ready for their 5th. They got a really interesting not only matchup coming up in about 48 hours from now, but even more so a couple games following that against some either some contenders for the NBA championship.
Brown coming to town.
Yeah, Brown on his way. We'll see if he's going to bring Bronny with him. That'll be really interesting to find out. I need an answer to that question right here on the other side of this break. Hey, you, yes, you. Are you tired of waking up extra early every Sunday morning trying to figure out how and where to place your bets? How about the delayed text message that you get the replies from your own personal bookie, which just so happens to be conveniently when it's time for you to cash out, or even searching for a new home and place for your money lines, your spreads, over-unders on Thursdays, even Sundays, the big game on Monday nights, Monday Night Football that cap off the week. How about even college football on Saturdays, getting ready for some conference championship games. My Lions been killing it, so I've been looking for somewhere that I can put some bread into Breslin's piggy bank. All of the above. I have the perfect solution for you. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. If you win, of course, the FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Remember, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if, only if, you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Let them know we sent you. Again, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Maceo, we got some an interesting matchup not only coming up next, I say especially for a guy like Onyeka Okongwu, who ironically and coincidentally enough, I don't know why, but he just appears to always look like the Giannis stopper every time he plays him. Finding a good way to contain him, and they've been struggling quite a bit themselves as well.
Oh, yeah.
10-9 so far on the season. They have, however, I think now on a 6-game win streak, so they've just literally been getting it together. Both of these teams combining for a 10-game win streak, for crying out loud, getting ready to go into Wednesday's meeting, the Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks. What's it going to take for this team to kind of slow down Milwaukee, as they seem like they've been kind of getting the ball rolling and looking like they've been picking up some steam and getting kind of hot? Both teams now looking hot. The Hawks now at 500. What do they have to do if they want to win 5 consecutive games?
For me, and it just seems like every time Dame sees Hawks colors, I mean, he can be in Portland, he can be at the Rucker.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever he is, when he see the Hawks color, and maybe it's the Trey thing. It's something about when he see Trey. He want to go off or something. So, I think it starts with just containing Dame. Don't let Dame just getting one of those things. We don't want him tapping his watch and
all that.
We don't want none of that. Like we don't need that in our life. And for me, with this Milwaukee team, I just always look at Doc Rivers. And I look at Doc because it's almost like he's always gonna be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
That's just bring Doc in at some point. You're just gonna blame everything on Doc, and then you're gonna move on. but for Giannis and this Milwaukee team, it's hard to believe now if you just watch this team now, and if like you tell somebody now, this team won a chip a few years ago. People be like, man, you're crazy.
You wouldn't believe it.
I mean, like, this team?
Yep.
Yes, this team. So but you talk about this a lot when you talk about hoops. The game, that window, it'll close on you fast. And where once upon a time we just truly regarded the Greek Freak. I mean, he just automatic MVP, or he just always in the conversation.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's like now we some days we look at him like, I mean, you out here bumping for your brother. I mean, he's straight. You took care of your brother. Man, don't worry about that. Find a way to get back in that mix. Be the elite team. Because I mean, if we all being honest, I think after they won that chip, I think we kind of all thought that, okay, they're finna go on a run. And then you add Dame. What? So that kind of enigma, you know, we look at this team and like, what do good point, Sean. Listen, when I said that once upon a time, somebody told me, man, you crazy. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. And these things take time. You know what I mean? They take time. Everybody's not gonna go from one team to the next and then they're gonna look like all-star. When you see, you know, some of these different franchises that put some of these big threes and big fours together, not everybody can make it look as easy as a Golden State did or as a Celtics team did at one point in time, or the way Miami did when they had LeBron, or the way Cleveland did with Love, Irving, and James. So like all these different things. So you know, it is something that takes time. And when I see Doc Rivers go over there, that almost makes me feel like I can guarantee that they're not going to win another championship. That's just my own personal opinion. But nonetheless, it's an interesting game. It's definitely a very winnable one for the Atlanta Hawks. They got some other interesting one. Let me ask you this real quick, because I know we got to get up out of here. We literally got very, very few minutes. These next, let's say this. This is good that the Atlanta Hawks are actually not only on a 4-game win streak so far, but closing out November with a win, opening up December with a win. Right. Always a good thing. Wow, this is interesting. Bucks on the road, Lakers at home, Nuggets at home, Spurs, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, but Heat, Bulls. It's some good ones, right? So let's just go with the next 1, 2, 3. Let's go with the next 3 games, right? So we got at Bucks, at home against the Lakers, at home against the Nuggets. Talk about MVPs walking through the door. Jesus Christ. What would you say is their record over the course of the next 3 games? Where do they fall in line? Do they win 2, lose 1? Do they win 1, lose 2? Do they lose all 3? Do they win all 3 again? That is on the road at the Bucks.
Yeah.
Bringing in LeBron and the Lakers, and then bringing in Jokic and the guys after that. Where do they fall in that record? I got
them going 2-1 in this 3-game stretch.
Losing to who?
Probably Denver.
Okay.
You know, you're gonna get the big fella, super fundamentals. He gonna come in here, you know, and Westbrook. And it's just the whole gang.
Yeah,
it's
the gang.
Something about that Denver team. I just love watching that team. I like the Instagram. I just like everything about the team. But I think we take care of business in Milwaukee, and then Friday night Lakers in town. I just think those are the tight games. Trey like that kind of.
He liked that. He liked them games.
You know, it's gonna be a big game. All eyes, of course, gonna be on the King.
Yeah,
Lebanon. I call him Lebanon James.
Lebanon James.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the atmosphere that Trey thrives in. Trey needs all the games to be like that. So I see us going 2-1 in the next 3.
What is that, Lakers? A Friday night game, I think.
Friday night game.
You talking about in December where it's cold in the ATL? It's going to be hot on the inside. We talking about the Lakers coming to town to ATL on a Friday night with Bronny. They're going to have the stars coming out.
Groupie meter going to be super high.
Groupie meter going to be all the time. You see, when I got to scratch my head like that, you know, I can't really talk like that. My dude, man, Maceo Hurd Jr., appreciate you for joining us on today, man. Remember, go and check him out.
You already know.
Host of the Crush Sports Talk podcast. Make sure you give him a follow at the Crush Sports Talk on all social media platforms every Thursday, each and every single Thursday. Y'all missing out if y'all ain't checking out what this brother's doing right here. 8:30p to 9:30p, of course, that's Eastern Standard Time. Check back in with y'all in the next 48 hours or so. We appreciate everybody for coming through, showing some love, even on the comment section. We got Must Love Fiction, King Phillip, Daniel even came through to show some love. Sean Campbell came through to show some love. So we are grateful for each and every last one of y'all. Tap back in with us in the next 48 after this Bucks game. You know you can get the best content right here. Locked on Hawks Postcast. DeShaun, Tate. See y'all in 48 in a minute.